So I want to chat to you a little bit about other people's opinions, judgments and criticisms of us, and how that can be something that's so detrimental to where our life currently is at, and also how it prevents us from moving forward. Particularly for those guys who kind of feel like that if only they could find their passion in life, if only they could find their love, they would then know how to move forward in life. It might appeal to you guys, because why you might not be able to find your love or your passions in life is because unknowingly you're concerned or worried about what other people would think of you if you made a change to find out what your passions are or what your loves in life are. And the idea that gave me for this video was no sooner had I released my last video out explaining that I'm going to start documenting how I try and build my life up from my life in my freezing cold caravan to building this platform up to a substantial base where I can have a very big impact on the things in life that is that I'm passionate about and that I believe in. The message that I want to deliver is now so big and powerful, and the desire to deliver that is now so strong that other people's opinions or judgments of me no longer concern me. And that's where over the course of these videos or me talking like this, etc., I'm hoping to kind of share what goes on in my head and how I see things and what's happening to me in my venture with that. If I share that, maybe that can inspire or help some of you identify in yourselves areas where maybe you're fearing to go, but when you can hear someone else is going through that and you can watch them still rise, if you like, that it might give you the encouragement to start doing that in your own life. But what gave me the idea to do this video was no sooner had I released that last video, that I then received 3 emails from people saying it doesn't make sense for me to do these videos, because why would anyone listen to someone who has no previous experience of how to grow a business? Well, my answer is really simple to that, and it's one that I suggest you guys start practicing in your mind of how to maybe you can reply in your mind to other people. You don't have to actually physically say it to them. And my answer to that would be, it doesn't need to make sense. Nothing I do needs to make sense to anybody. It only needs to make sense to me. And and the same with you guys, it only needs to make sense to you. The only reason most of us are fearing that it needs to make sense of other people is because we're worried what they're going to say about us. So if we can lose the fear of their judgment of us and what it is they're going to say about us, we start to realise that it doesn't need to make sense to them, and what they're thinking or what they're feeling about us has absolutely no bearing on us unless we allow it to. But how we can kind of venture into this world of not caring what people think. Now, I've got to be careful what I say there, because a lot of people will come from a place of, I don't give a shit what someone says about me. That's not true. You actually do, because you wouldn't be so passionate about people saying things about you if you truly didn't care about them. They kind of wouldn't register with you. And you could say that's why I'm doing this video, because maybe it affected me. The only area now where people's judgments of me affect me is the fact that I can see how I once would have reacted to that. And it's that I like to share on these videos, so that we can see that sometimes when people say things about us, it's a normal reaction to feel a fear of that, or to feel an uncomfort of that, or an unease from that, or we can actually start judging ourselves off the back of what they've said. That those feelings that arise in us are quite normal. They're quite natural feelings for us. But what's not natural and what's not normal is observing those feelings and then living the rest of our life not making any mistakes, or not wanting to make any mistakes. And how we avoid making mistakes is by staying safe in the place where we are, i.e. staying safe in the relationship we're in if we're not happy with it, or staying safe in the job that we're currently in that we're not happy with. But we stay there because we know we can do it, although we kind of don't want to be doing it. We'd love to be doing something else, but we won't go and try and do that other thing because we're scared of the judgment of other people. This whole thing is just this massive conveyor belt loop that when we notice that pattern going on in our minds, that's how we can best start to learn to overcome that. and move forward with it. In my case, I'm very fortunate because the belief in my message that I want to get out to people, and my love of talking, I have a general love of talking about this stuff. Whether or not I do it any good, sometimes I doubt that in myself. I'm my own worst critic at times, but you guys always put me right and say that my digression, you know, most of you know now that me digressing is a fear of mine. However, you guys tell me you like it when I digress, but no matter how much you tell me you like it when I digress, there's always the small child in me back here, the thick child that always grew up thinking he should be quiet. There's always that guy there saying, nobody wants you to digress. No matter how much you tell me, it's still there. But I overcome that each time, like on this video right now, I'm allowing myself to digress, even though it's there. So it just goes to show you that once we can identify the patterns of our thoughts, how powerful our transformation, how powerful it is for us to transition past those thoughts, like mine that are going on now, to transition past those and come into like our new ambient state of being, which is a much more calm and relaxed way of putting your blinkers on and quietly going about your business in life, avoiding the opinions and judgments of others. And I hope that last little bit there kind of made sense to you guys. Another thing that I want to point out is we all know that I can't read as I'm talking on this. So it's very difficult for me to stay on topic and stay in some kind of order. But it doesn't prevent me from doing these videos, even though a lot of people probably click on and then click off because they can't be bothered to watch me go around the houses and think, where's this guy going with this video? But that's also part of what I wanted to document on my journey to rising up, if you like. It is, we don't need to be perfect to do the things in life that we want to do. All we have to do is understand and have the belief in that we can get to where we want to go, and that we can ultimately totally change our life around now, like right now. Not at the end of this video, not tomorrow. We don't need to learn anything else first. There's no books to read. There's no special line or anything like that that I'm going to give you or anyone else has. We just need to know that we can change it right now. And that is the very simple thing of making the choice that you want to change and then taking the action to create that change. The trouble is with that, when we try to take that action to make that change, our mind wants to put us in the place where it is that we would like to be. So just as an example, if we want a big house and we're chasing money, by the way, when you come into your true essence and you become more spiritual and those egoic voices leave you, these things become much, much, much less important to you. That doesn't mean that you don't like them and you wouldn't desire them, they wouldn't be nice to have, but now you might want those things from more of a place where you know if you've got them, you can give back more to the world, more to your friends, more to family, and have a bigger impact on the things in life that truly matter to you. But let's say that is the thing that you want to go, bigger money, big house, big career, this, that, and the other. Where you are now, the current state where you are now, how you're feeling mentally, where you're living, maybe your circumstances, or just how you generally feel about yourself. The person that you are now, when it visualizes the person that you need to be in order to have a big successful job or to run a big business and have plenty of staff and to have plenty of money coming in and be in with the perfect partner and having the perfect life, there's this part of you that underneath the wanting of that says, that's never going to happen to me. You kind of have this belief, we all have it because it's part of the conditioning, we all have it, that those things don't really happen to us. They only happen to other people. There's a little quiet voice there, and if we sit in silence, we'll feel that. But when our mind places itself so far forward to be in that purpose, it's untangible for us to get there. We can't comprehend being that person. It's like we then think the mind will want an answer for that and think, I'm not that person, so how am I ever going to get there? Well, this is the beautiful thing of it, and these videos are the demonstration of that. You won't be that end product. You're not going to be that end product until you start experiencing all the fears and all the different things that go on through your life and through your journey to change your life. That's why I'm documenting these videos, because I want people to see how how the change slowly comes around. Now let's move forward 5 years with me, guys. I'm not going to stop doing this. I can't stop. I said that in the last video. I cannot stop. The calling to do this is now much greater than me. So no matter how much fear I have of doing some of these videos, they will get done. So that's kind of terrifying at the same time, by the way. But I've kind of lost my chain of thought a little bit there. That's what I was saying. So let's go forward with me 5 years from now. And let's say, this is a big ask, but you know, you never know. Let's say I've got 100,000 subscribers and I'm doing podcasts with people, with named people, and that we might know and recognise. I'm trying to think of someone, I actually can't. But let's say that's happening. At that point, I have then become someone that, because I now have a large amount of a huge platform, if you like, 100,000 subscribers, and I've got podcasts, and maybe I've done a couple of books and that. I'm now that person that when I start speaking, other people would pay attention to more in depth than they will now. But in order for me to become that person, I won't become that person now, and I can't even comprehend what that person needs to be in order to do that. So the only way that I can keep moving forward is by noticing how I'm feeling now, and noticing that the very next step I take, i.e. this video, the very next step I take is a step closer to becoming that guy. That guy will slowly be unravelled as I go along on this journey. But in order to become that guy as I go along on this journey, I have to be prepared to face up to the fears that it's going to produce in me. And it's that I would like to document. And in order for me to overcome the fears that doing this is bringing out in me, I have to be prepared to ignore other people's opinions, judgments and criticisms of me. And I'll give you this little thing as well, guys. I'm sorry if that was a little bit involved about me, but that is the idea of these kind of vlog type videos, is I want to try and explain in depth, we know that I like to do that, in depth about how I'm actually feeling in a moment. My whole life I've read books from like rags to riches stories and always been fascinated by them, and the autobiographies of people who rose from nothing and got to somewhere. I always used to think I was fascinated by that because of how they become rich and bought boats and stuff like that. But now I realise I was always much more interested in what was actually going on in their minds at that time. How did they overcome the feelings that they had to keep doing the things that they did? How did they find that courage to make a decision, to, I don't know, have a meeting with someone that maybe they felt out of their depth with, but they still had the courage to go and do that? And then our mind would always tell us that all those people are special. So like the Richard Bransons of the world, if you like. We feel like they've got something special about them. But the only thing that's really special about them is they felt those fears that were arising in them and they made the next step. That's it. Richard Branson wasn't born Richard Branson, if you like. He'd become the guy that we know now after all of those years of that journey. He didn't, when he was 15, 16 years old and started out on his venture, was the end product. He became the end product on the journey. And I've totally gone round houses here and I've lost the point of what I was saying again. But I hope nonetheless it's interesting. Again, I may have said this earlier in the video, we don't need to be perfect. A lot of people at this point would have clicked off. I say that in most of my videos. That's fine, because they clicked on and then realised I'm not for them and they click off, which means if you're still watching at this point, you're meant to be here, which is awesome. It then means I build up a subscriber base of people who genuinely like listening to me and like listening to my sort of take on the world and stuff like that. But I have now digressed so far off topic, I've forgotten what I was actually talking about. But as always, I will let it roll. I like you guys to see the reality of things that are going on. And right now, as I'm talking to you, there's this little panic mode going on, like, Toby, you've got to get back on the topic of what you were saying. But why do I? Why do I? Maybe perhaps me digressing off like this is, like some of you guys really enjoy it, maybe me digressing off at this point is what the world needs to see a bit more of. Maybe it needs to see that imperfection in people. Maybe we've all been conditioned so much via having to get A grades and get degrees and trying to attain some sort of status. Maybe that in life is what's making us feel that we need to be perfect in order to start. Maybe the world needs a bit more imperfection. 13.8 billion years ago, apparently a big bang happened, and here we are. You know, but then suddenly the mind kicks in and wants to know how it can earn money, and it pays attention to that person and wants a bigger house, and we need to pay this bill and have this phone and wear these clothes, and I need to be in this shape, and I've got to be this religion or that colour or whatever. It's just the noise that goes on in our mind, and we're like, we just got here through a big bang, and we don't even know if that was real, but we got here. This video's gone into one of those ones where I kind of go on, but that's, you know, it's a nice point. Maybe we don't need to be so perfect. Maybe we need some more imperfection in the world, and that's where I want to document this stuff to any of you that are considering making changes in your life. Just take the very next step to doing that, and ignore what people are saying here. But to ignore what people are saying you doesn't mean like push it down. It means like push it down as if like, stuff you, I don't care what you say about me, and doing it that way, because that won't last long. It's more, find that belief in yourself. Find that, start making the nice decisions, the right decisions for yourself. Start showing yourself self-love. Most of us don't know what self-love is. We kind of want to identify self-love as something that after we've had a hard day's work, we get in and I'll have a nice dinner, and we'll treat ourselves to a McDonald's, and we'll sit down, put our feet up and watch the telly and watch a nice film. I'm not saying there's anything particularly wrong with that, but when that's our default thing to go through as a self-love treat, this is what actually keeps us stuck in a stagnant place and makes us feel really shitty for most of our lives, and also saps us of our energy, which we then won't use to go and do other things in life that we'd like to do. No, if you've had a particularly hard day at work, what might do you the world of good when you get in, what would be the right decision and the right choice for you, is you're already tired from having that hard day at work or doing that strenuous job, whatever it is. The thing that you could actually do now, which would be self-love, would be have a very nutritious meal, drink some water, go for a walk outside in nature, let it all clear out. Let's get back in touch with where we actually evolved. You know, like, that's self-love. Don't put the telly on. Let the mind relax. Sit in silence. But our minds are going to kick in at this point and go, well, that's just shit. That's boring, though. It might be boring, but it's only boring because it's something we don't tap into. But we might find that if we tap into it over a period of time, that boredom turns into joy. That's how I feel now, and I literally sit anywhere I want to sit for hours on end, and just nothing, no distractions, just able to sit. People always tell me that they can do that. I'm like, you can't. Most people can't do that. They would need to pick their phone up, or they bite their nails, or they twitch around, or they put a film on, or the mind will race of what to do, and this, that and the other. Again, we have to sit through that mind racing. If we're going to sit in silence, the mind will race at first, but after a period of time that goes. And we will learn to find that inner peace, that calm, that quietness. And that's where we then start making the right decisions for ourselves. If we smoke, we don't want to smoke. If we drink excessively, we don't want to drink. We won't put drugs into us. We won't eat the copious amount of sugars and shit that we eat. We would stop doing that if we had more self-love. And another way that we can find that self-love is by understanding that we are nature. You are literally nature. You're no different. Like I say, we come out of the Big Bang. If you took the sun out of the sky, we're not here, guys. If you took the sun out of the sky, we are not here. If you take these buildings away, if you take all the processed foods away, if you take all clothing away, if you took running water away and heating away, if you took anything that you can think materialistically away from us in life, we are still here. Take the sun out the sky, we're not here. Guys, we are nature. When you realise that you are nature, you will start treating yourself as such, and you will start doing all the things in life that you feel that you would need to do in order to nurture this nature to its best ability. The longer we fail to realise that we are nature is the longer that we continue to abuse ourselves, unknowingly abusing ourselves at times, or most of the time. But anyway, wow, that video, oh my God, that went so far around the houses and went all off topic. But, you know, hey, I'll release it, let it go out, because it's all part of the journey. I'm just toying with different characters that I have. Sometimes I'm in different moods. Sometimes I'm very fired up and passionate about things. Other days I'm very kind of reflective, which is kind of a day that I'm having today. A pretty reflective day, and I'm about to go down and have a coffee and meet a very good friend of mine, so that's really nice. Yeah, so I'm just having one of those days where I reflect on things, and I thought I'd share that with you. It's nice to share stuff in the world, guys. All of us have got a lovely ability. We've all got something about us that's wonderful, and it's just you. You're just wonderful as you are. Take the voices away, and we're all pretty much the same underneath. When we're in that consciousness, in that essence, we're all pretty much the same. Anyway, I'm going to go because it gets so woo-woo, although I know there's a lot of you that like it when I get woo-woo, and I also like it when I get woo-woo, but I feel that when I start going too woo-woo, I also get slightly embarrassed about it. So I'm going to go before I get myself too embarrassed. But anyway, guys, I hope you found that a little bit inspiring, a little bit interesting. I hope it helped any of you in some way whatsoever. And guys, if you're new, thanks to all the subscribers that have come along from my other videos, and thank you to all the guys that are always there and always show me so much love. Anyway, guys, I'm going. Right, love every one of you. Take care and peace.